A parcel has arrived. Let's have a look and see what's inside. Well, as you can probably tell from the outside, it's from Cadbury's. And this is something I ordered, so I do know what's in here. Let's open it up and have a look. Okay, what we have here is 2 Cadbury's Dairy Milk Mystery Bars. Milk chocolate with a mystery flavour filling. 01 and 02. I don't know if that implies that they're going to make 99 of these. Interesting, they've used a different typeface for these 2 different bars. Anyway, let's have a look. I don't suppose the ingredients are going to give us much clue. Ingredients: milk, sugar, vegetable fat, palm and shea, cocoa mass, cocoa butter, skim milk powder, milk fat, emulsifier, soya lecithins. Flavourings may contain nuts, wheat. That's it. So, same on this one. So whatever it is in here that makes this special flavour is hidden away under the label flavourings. You get 1 chance a day apparently to solve this puzzle, and there's a £5,000 prize, I think, or prize to the value of £5,000. There's a scan the QR code, Cadbury's mystery bars to enter. I'm not that interested in entering the competition, to be perfectly frank. I am interested in trying to figure out what these flavours are. Now, I looked everywhere in the supermarkets for these and couldn't find them. I paid £2.76 for each of these bars, plus I think £2.50 shipping, because I had to order them from the Cadbury's kind of mail order gift service. So there it is. Anyway, we're going to taste these bars. Interestingly, the packaging is subtly different, but I don't think it's really going to give us any clues. This one's all purpley and pink. This one's greenish and pink. I don't know if that's a clue or not, but anyway, let's go and give them a taste. Okay, tasting time, and we're going to do this together, me and Jenny. So we've got 2 chocolate bars to taste, and I thought what we'd do here is, rather than discuss what we're tasting as we're tasting it, we're going to taste each one and take notes and not talk about our perceptions, because that might affect each other. Then we're going to compare notes, and we're going to try and decide between us see if we come to a consensus about what these 2 mystery flavours are. So there's going to be a bit of tasting with no talking for a moment. So let's crack on. I'm just going to write words basically that mean something, like, fruit or flower or berry or whatever flavours you think you're picking up. I mean, it might be obvious. Anyway, let's have a look at the bars. They are a tiny little bit bendy. I didn't refrigerate these because I thought that might suppress the aroma. So it's a hot day, and these chocolate bars are ever so slightly melty, but not molten. Okay, well, that's number 1. Let's keep them, number 1 on the left, number 2 on the right. Okay, well, I'm going to take a bit of number 1. And I think smell as well as taste. And we have got cups of tea here as kind of palate cleansers, but also the warmth of the tea will help to perceive those aromas. That's a real puzzle.
Don't taste of anything.
Okay. You've tried number 2, have you?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, have a go on number 1. I'll have a go on number 2. Okay, I am going to try another bit of this one because this one's really puzzling me. I'm not getting
anything.
I mean, I'm getting some things from this. I'm going to cheat a little bit here and take some of the chocolate off of it. So I'm just eating the filling, or eating a higher proportion of the filling. See if that makes a difference. Okay. Do you want to taste another bit of either one?
Yeah,
have another go on number 2. Okay. I'm going to have another bit of this one because it's an excuse to eat chocolate. Okay. Well, is it time to compare notes? Are we going to get any closer if we taste some more?
I don't think so.
I don't think I know what either of these
That
are.
one's very bland.
That one, yeah, it's not got such a distinctive flavour.
But I would say it almost tastes nutty, but I know
Yep.
it doesn't taste.
Yep.
It hasn't got nuts in
It
it.
hasn't got nuts in it, but I've got nut. Okay, so I've got nuts on the flavour. I got a kind of biscuity flavour from it as well.
Possibly.
But I got that from both of them. The first little taste was a bit biscuity. I thought I tasted like some sort of very faint spice in there and butter. But I might just be imagining that. I mean, it might be cocoa butter I'm tasting, or you know, one of the other fats they've got in here. So that one, I don't know. The trouble is, I don't know whether these are supposed to be flavours of something that already exists, or whether you're meant to kind of guess what the blend is, you know. So I don't know, but yeah, real mystery, that one. What did you get for number one?
I put black currant.
Black currant. That's interesting. So I got the kind of biscuit thing.
Definitely berry. That's
Yeah.
black currant.
I got biscuit and then jam, and then strawberry and a really sweet thing, slight floral, and then I thought I got a punch of spice, a hot spice at one point, but that might be a piece of black pepper stuck in my teeth or something from dinner. Because on retasting I didn't get that. So you think black currant? That's interesting. I'm gonna. Okay, now that we've made that decision, let's taste that again and see if that bears out. I don't know. I know what you mean.
Candy floss.
That's the kind of. There was an intensely sweet aroma in there, isn't there? Well, I thought I would be good at this, and that's actually genuinely tricky. So I don't know. My first inclination is maybe that is Jammy Dodger flavour.
Oh yes, maybe.
Because Jammy Dodgers have got that kind of biscuity sweetness, jammy flavour, strawberry sweetness, fruity.
Yeah, could be.
Jammy Dodger flavour, maybe. This one, I don't know. It's got a nuttiness to it.
I wonder if anybody ever gets it right.
I don't know. Oh, ginger?
Yeah, could be. Hint of ginger there.
Could that be ginger nuts flavour? Could these both be biscuit flavours then?
Could be then.
So Jammy Dodger and
ginger
nuts. I mean, it's not very strong, is it?
No.
Just going to taste a bit of that again.
Yeah, it could be ginger nut. Yeah.
I mean, the flavour is very dilute in the chocolate. I think I would be expecting that if it was going to be ginger nut flavour, it would be very ginger nut. Because ginger nut biscuits are not mild, are they? They're quite punchy. And if this is ginger nut flavour, it's ginger nuts and milk or something, isn't it? So I don't know. Maybe the theme of these bars is
biscuits,
cookies and milk.
Yeah, could be.
So this could be Jammy Dodgers and milk. This could be ginger nuts and milk. You know, like a bedtime biscuit and milk thing.
Yeah, it could be.
I think that's about as close as we're going to get, isn't it?
I think so.
So there we go. I hope that was interesting. We've drawn kind of a blank, but best guess is number 2. How did we... Oh, we swapped them over. Oh, that's stupid. I've been looking at the things on the back. So in fact, our judgments here are transposed. So in fact, number 2 is what we think is Jammy Dodger, and number 1 is what we think is ginger nut. Because I was looking at this, and of course that's the thing to say, why don't you try that other thing? That's not the number. Number 1 we think is ginger nut and milk. Number 2 we think is Jammy Dodgers and milk.
Yeah.
I'm not very confident about that, though, are you?
No.
I think I'm probably about 30% confident about that judgment. I mean, it's not an easy thing to judge, but it's a very pleasant exercise. I quite like this whole idea of trying to attune your senses. Do you know what we didn't do? Which one's your favourite out of the 2? The nutty one or the fruity one?
I think the fruity one, actually.
Yeah?
It's got more flavour.
It has got more flavour. I'm going to say the nutty one, which is number 1. I think I like the simplicity of the nutty one. So there we go. Cadbury's mystery bars. We have kind of got as far as we can with that, and I don't think that we've got a high confidence of being right, but that was an enjoyable exercise. I hope you enjoyed watching that. If you want to play along, if you want to put our guesses into their website, well, there's the QR code. You can go off and do that if you want to. I'm not entering the competition, so if you want to use our guesses and enter the prize draw using our sketchy guesses about these chocolates, then be our guest.
It's time for the comment positivity section, and I'm just going to pick out a handful of comments that either made me laugh or made me think, perhaps asked an insightful question, or just made me feel good. So here we go, reading glasses on. Okay, well this was on the spatula grime section of the last random video, and where I had a 2-part spatula that acquired some really nasty looking mould growth inside the handle. And a few people suggested, and it just hadn't ever occurred to me, store the handle and the rubber part separate so the mould doesn't grow in that little damp cavity. Quite a good idea, actually. I hadn't even really thought of that, and obvious answer now that you mention it, but sometimes the obvious answers aren't so obvious until we know about them. But yeah, really good idea, actually. So for 2-part spatulas, I think I've still got one left in the drawer, so I'm just going to pull that apart and store it separately. Really good idea, and thank you. That's obvious now I know. This was from the video where I tried to make a pizza that tastes of tomatoes but didn't contain tomatoes. Someone said, I'm allergic to tomatoes. I make fake tomato stuff all the time, but I've never done it with rose hips. We usually use pumpkin and carrots for texture and tamarind with spices for flavour. That sounds really good, actually. I can see how tamarind would really work quite well in something that needs that sort of deep, tangy flavour that you get from tomatoes. Really good idea, and I think I might give that a go in future sometime. Someone's asked, do you get nervous when talking and filming in public? Not really. I've been doing it a very, very long time now, and I kind of got used to it. If I'm in a public place where there are people close by, I do tend to pick my moment so that it won't appear to them that I'm talking to them rather than the camera. So yeah, I won't go and stand next to somebody and then start talking to the camera. And if it's somewhere like a supermarket, I usually wait for the space in the aisle to clear a little bit before I talk to the camera. Do you still plan on making a portable computer? Yes, I do. I still want to do that project, but I think it's going to be a winter project. When it's summer like this, even though there's a drought on and some other foraging things are not all that available, there are outdoor things to do. So summertime, I will tend to do more outdoor content. In the winter, when the weather might not be so great and, outdoor filming opportunities are more limited, I will probably turn back to some of the indoor projects, including, I hope, some electronics and computing stuff. So this was on the sausage stew video. Cumberland sausages are full of pepper, but I bet you still add more. Yeah, I do. And on that one I answered, if you can still see the food, it might need more pepper. I really do like black pepper, and very often I put a lot of black pepper on my food. I guess it's not for everyone, but it's something I really, really like. So here's an interesting food combination that somebody suggested. Cold baked beans and grated cheese sandwiches are the God's own food. Well, obviously I've eaten cold baked beans before, quite a few times. Eating cold baked beans with a spoon out of the can when you're just hungry, or when, camping or whatever, and you just want something that's going to fill you up. Actually, cold baked beans are nice in their own right. It might seem strange, but they are nice in their own right. However, I don't think I've ever had baked beans in a sandwich, except maybe, I don't know, maybe when I was doing a big brunch sometime, I might have assembled a kind of all-day breakfast sandwich with bacon and sausage and a fried egg and perhaps a spoonful of beans warm in a big bun. But I don't think I've ever had cold baked beans in a sandwich, so let's go and try that right now.
So cold baked bean and grated cheese sandwiches. So we'll just get that open. Oh look, oh no, no pull tab. Whatever shall we do? And if I recall correctly, these Branston beans are in a quite tangy sauce. Actually, not as punchy as I remember, but never mind. I think for this sandwich, it calls for some nice, fluffy, soft, white farmhouse bread. And I've got some butter which I've allowed to come to room temperature, so hopefully that will be soft enough to spread. Okay, let's see if we can do this without tearing the bread. It's going to tap. So actually what I'm going to do is just work this butter a little bit more. Don't know if you heard my stomach rumbling there. That's better. Still at dire risk of tearing the bread here, so we've got to go carefully. It might just be that we have to put the butter on quite thickly. Well, not very evenly buttered, but like I say, this bread is just so soft that I'm going to have trouble buttering it. And I think it deserves soft bread, this sandwich. It feels like it's something that... This feels like one of those kind of comfort food type sandwiches where white soft bread is the way to go. So I think I'll put the beans on this side because it's got a better butter coverage over there. Now I don't think we can load too much on here because it'll just get impossible to eat. That looks about right, I reckon. And then for cheese, I've got some Cornish cheddar here. This is a really mature Cornish cheddar. We'll actually hear the little whey granules, or whatever they are, calcium granules in there. You can hear them against the grater. Gonna have cheese, might as well have good cheese. Okay. It's not in the recommendation, but I am gonna have a little bit of pepper on there. Okay, let's see what cold baked bean and grated cheese sandwich is like. It's good. It's a mess, but that's kind of part of the fun, I think. That is actually a really good sandwich, and the reason that's a good sandwich is it's more than the sum of its parts. It doesn't taste like you're just eating cold baked beans and cheese. There's some kind of synergy going on there. The result is a sandwich that's nicer than it might seem like it ought to be. So yeah, really happy for that recommendation. Thank you very much. And yeah, I'll be doing that again. This, I think, is one of these sandwiches where late at night you're hungry. You maybe come home from the pub or something like that. And it's quick, it's satisfying. And I reckon after a couple of beers, that one would go down a real treat.
So another food combo suggestion that somebody's been asking me for a very long time now is vanilla ice cream and sriracha sauce. Now, I don't mind people being persistent in suggesting that I try something, and in this particular case I did definitely entertain that persistence. It is now time for me to make good on that promise that I will do it. So let's go and try vanilla ice cream with sriracha sauce.
Alright then, vanilla ice cream and sriracha sauce. I think it's time to do this. Now, I want to do this properly, so we're going to try to make something a bit more akin to an ice cream sundae. Let's start with a couple of scoops of this nice vanilla ice cream and some of the sriracha sauce, but that's not all, because we do want to do this properly. So I think we'll have a couple of fan wafers, some smashed cashews, or as I like to call them, smashoos, and a bit of Cadbury's flake. I'll kind of have half of that as it comes, plus some of it kind of broken up a little bit. Now, I do need to be able to just taste the ice cream and sriracha on its own, so I'll put a little bit more of this on there, and I'll put some over here where there isn't any of the other accompaniments. There it is, sriracha and vanilla ice cream sundae. Let's get that to the table and give it a taste.
And I think the idea of chili and ice cream goes okay. So, you know, hot sauce, cold ice cream. I do like a bit of contrast. It's not a bad idea, but here we go. Certainly that's quite unique. I'll try it together with some of the nuts and chocolate. I feel like I perhaps didn't give it quite enough of a try with the ice cream and the sauce, so let's remedy that now. It's very strange, as you may imagine. I'm not going to say I hate that. I don't exactly love it. I think it's the garlic in the sauce that is the slightly troubling flavour note. But it does work. I'm just not altogether sure if this would be better with a sweet chili sauce that doesn't have garlic in it. I may have to try that sometime.
Well, there we go. I have fulfilled my obligation to try vanilla ice cream with sriracha sauce. And do you know what? As I was eating that, the first taste was kind of super weird, but it grew on me quite quickly. I still think maybe it might be nicer with a hot sauce that doesn't contain garlic. Garlic is a strange flavour to have with sweet dishes like this. But that's not terrible. That's not awful. And I could actually imagine getting to like that. So there we go. Ice cream with sriracha sauce.
So once again, I think I've really enjoyed responding to some of these positive comments and these suggestions and so on. I'm not going to necessarily encourage you to suggest more food combinations, although if you want to, by all means do. I'm not going to promise that I'm going to try all of your food combinations, but perhaps if there's enough of them and if they sound interesting enough and you're not just trolling me, I might even make a video where I just try all of your weird and random food combinations that you like. So do feel free to post your food combo suggestions, but perhaps don't pin your hopes too high that I'm going to try all of them out, because I do know how these things can snowball a little bit sometimes. I think I'm going to do this comments positivity section in every one of my random videos from now on, because it makes me feel good, and I think from the feedback I got from the last one, people enjoy watching this. So this is going to be a regular feature from now on in the random videos. I'm just going to pick half a dozen or so positive looking comments or interesting comments or insightful comments or stuff that just makes me think or laugh or whatever, and we'll address them in this segment in future videos. I'm not saying that I won't ever look at the negative or critical comments, because sometimes the critique or nitpicking and so on brings out an interesting point for discussion or debate that might make a whole video in its own right. So there was, for example, quite an interesting point about project management that came out of one of the images in that weird pictures video that I did. It was the label that said only these sides up, and it was like a this way up label that says either way up, and it's a bad label even though it makes sense as a piece of logic. If you haven't seen that video, it's going to be linked in the card and in the video description. And if you enjoyed this kind of interaction, you might also enjoy the Atomic Shrimp official Discord server, where people are having interesting discussions about various topics, some of them related to the content of my videos, and some of them just the things that the people there are interested or excited about. So if you want to, check out the Atomic Shrimp Discord. The invite link is in the video description and in the About page of my channel. Today we're walking a little bit of the Meon Valley Trail, which used to be a railway line, and it's now been decommissioned. And it's now a walking route that runs from West Meon, which is where we are now. See the bridge up there. We're at West Meon. This is the remains of West Meon station. So the track would have gone through there. I'm standing on the edge of the platform. Some sort of gate structure there. Might have been a little compound or something for bits of railway architecture. Anyway, it goes off this way. So we're going to see what else we can find in terms of kind of evidence of an old railway line. So yeah, the line goes all the way from West Meon, where we're starting, all the way down to Wickham. And I think you can use the whole thing. It's kind of footpath and cycle track now. Used to be a railway line. We're not going to walk the whole length of it because it's quite a few miles. But this is a piece I haven't walked before. Stop and look at a couple of plants along the side here. So this is Rosebay Willow Herb, or fireweed, and it's a plant very commonly found on disturbed soil. So I think it's also called bombweed because it used to grow on sites where buildings had been bombed. And this one here with the pink flowers, this is wild marjoram. Being enjoyed by a bee. This I think might be creeping thistle.
and it's all gone to seed. And down here, knapweed. Related to cornflowers, it's a plant in the daisy family. Related to thistles as well. Perhaps you can see the similarity. In fact, one way you will see the similarity is if I show you the flower buds here. So, I don't know if you can see that, they've got kind of scales around the flower. So, rosebay willow herb we already looked at. This is a different willow herb here. I think this is greater willow herb. Not exactly sure, I will put it on the screen. I need to step it up a bit. While I've been standing here wittering about plants, Jenny's got quite far ahead. Here we've got a plant that's really common alongside this railway, which is dewberry, a relative of blackberries. There's the fruit. Sort of like a bluish grey blackberry. Usually they fall apart when they're picked. I'm not going to pick them from here. Oh, there's a cyclist coming. I'll stand aside. Alright. I'm not going to pick them from here because it's very dry and dusty, and these plants are covered in dust, and so I wouldn't pick fruit from by the side of here. If it had been raining recently and all the dust was down, it wouldn't be so bad, but we've had such a drought and such a shortage of rain that all of these plants here are just caked in dust. Those are blackberry flowers there. So blackberries and dewberries grow alongside each other, and their flowering seasons do overlap a bit. And so it's not at all unusual to find hybrids of blackberries and dewberries. That is a campion. It looks like white campion, but I've never seen one that tall before. It's not a white form of red campion because that would be sticky. So don't know what kind of campion that is. Normally I would think of white campion as being a fairly low growing bush, common as a coastal plant, and it grows little cushions. Never seen one that tall before. And here, rosebay willow herb that's gone to seed. And so when these seed pods, these are the seed pods here, so flowers at the tip, seed pods beneath, and then eventually the seed pods ripen, and out comes this fluff containing the seeds. The seeds are minute, and then the wind carries them away. And these are very, very small seeds, and it's generally true of tiny, tiny seeds like this that they can lay dormant in the soil for years and years and years until their opportunity comes to grow. And that's definitely what rosebay willow herb does, because it's got a reputation for just springing up out of nowhere on disturbed soil. But of course it's not out of nowhere, it's out of a natural seed bank. The seeds are just lying dormant in the soil for years, decades, I don't know, maybe even centuries. Right, now we're in a bit of a less dusty part. I think I can treat myself to a dewberry. Nice. And they are more acidic than blackberries. Nice. Sort of almost red wine flavour to them. What we've got here over these bushes is the remains of goosegrass, or cleavers, or as we used to call it at school, sticky willy. This is that plant that you can stick onto other people's clothing like Velcro. Now that it's dry, these little seeds apparently can be used as a coffee substitute. This is a distant relative of coffee, and the seeds do contain a small amount of caffeine. So apparently if you collect enough of them and roast them and grind them, it can be used as a coffee substitute drink. It doesn't taste like coffee, but it can provide that little lift that you sometimes get from coffee. The yellow flower in there is St. John's wort, a species of Hypericum. St. John's wort is a natural herbal remedy for something or other. Stinging nettles here, way too far gone to pick for the table, but seeds are there, so stinging nettle seeds are edible, and when they're as tall as this they can be harvested, and the stems can be used to make fibre for ropes, fabrics, baskets, that sort of thing. That's a hart's tongue fern there. So we must be in a slightly more moist area because there's loads of them all the way up the bank there. It definitely feels a little bit cooler and more moist here. It's quite deep shade. Obviously it's a very deep railway cut here. Look at all those ferns. Kind of a very unfern-like fern. When you talk about ferns, you often think of something feathery, but these are just kind of strap-like leaves. But it is a fern. Wow, we're a long way down now. Or that's a long way up, I'm not really sure. So I was kind of hoping that if we stood here, we might see some evidence of soot from the old steam trains that used to run along here. But I don't know. If it was there, it's either worn away or someone's cleaned it off. So another little bit of railway architecture here. We're on a bridge now, so there must be a tunnel or a track or something going underneath. Probably just a small tunnel that farmers might have used to connect fields, so to get their cows from one field to another or back to the farm or whatever. I'm going to lean you over the edge so you're going to get to see it. I'm not. That's what's down there. I don't know if you can see that. I think actually I can just get down here and have a better look. So we'll stand on the capstone of this pier here, and there we go, that's the tunnel. Eva, don't go down there. So yeah, that probably would have just been a farm track, I think, went under that. Maybe a pedestrian track, probably not a road, not a small bridge like that. Right, come on Eva. And this plant here is burdock, so it's gone to seed now. And those are the seeds, and those are the remains of the flowers. The seeds may be locked up inside this thing, which is a burr. And it's got like little Velcro hooks on it. It even sticks to my fingers, sticks to the skin of my fingers. So that would hook onto the fur of animals, or I'll show you. And I think it will probably, yeah, stick to my shirt. And so that would stick to the fur of animals as they brush past it. And they'd walk, and they'd walk, and eventually it would get brushed off and detached and deposited somewhere else. And that's how the burdock plant gets around. So we're now on an embankment, and it's a long way down. Look at that. And so this railway line, what was a railway line here, whilst it's quite level, goes through some pretty big hills and valleys. And so in places like this, it's built up, and just a little way back, just where we were before, it goes through a cutting, just to keep the railway line level. But yeah, we're on quite a large embankment at the moment. Elderberries here. Not been a fantastic year for fruit in general. There are a few berries, but it's been a really, really dry summer. And there are a few elderberries about, but they're quite small and sparse like this. and they look a little bit on the dry side. So I have some plans to do something with elderberries, but I think this is probably not the year to attempt it. They're just really not done very well at all this year. Perhaps next year. I kind of fancy making some elderberry wine, but I think it will have to wait. So we've been walking about 45 minutes, and I'm just looking now, and there's about maybe 2 fingers of space between the sun and the visible horizon. The visible horizon here being the top of a hill. So we've got about half an hour before that sun dips down behind that hill. Maybe 45 minutes. Oh, there's a bridge or something up ahead. That might be where we turn around, I think. Right, there's a road down there. Hang on, I'm going to have to get the dog on the lead. Yeah, Eva. Could you?
To an end.
Yeah. Well, I suspect what we're going to find here is that the grade went along there, and there was a bridge that went across this road, and the bridge probably either isn't there anymore or isn't safe to cross. Should we have a look down there and then we'll head back? Yeah, it's one of those cases where the bridge ain't there anymore. But there would have been a bridge here, sort of riveted metal bridge, much like we've seen on other bits of railway architecture in this area. So basically plates of iron riveted together to make a bridge across there to carry the railway track. But at some point it's either collapsed or been demolished or scrapped, or something crashed into it and destroyed it. Or maybe somebody took it down on purpose because they wanted more headroom on this road. The trail would resume along there, but we've run out of daylight really. So now we've got to about face and go back the way we came. That there is the fruiting structure. So that's a cluster of berries from wild arum. Poisonous, not edible to humans anyway. I think birds can eat them. And there's quite a bit of that around. I think it's been quite a good year for it actually. Despite the dry conditions, I think wild arum must really like that. And there's more of it down there. In the field over there, I can see a rabbit. I think that's a rabbit. It's not a hare, is it? Hard to say at this distance, unless we see it run. No, it's a rabbit. There's another one further up, and another one. Many rabbits. Eva, come on. Chasing bunnies, probably. The road that runs kind of parallel with this railway line, the A32, is quite popular with motorcyclists. In case that needed explanation. I wouldn't go down there, it's quite steep. Hazelnuts here, look at that, still not quite ripe. But we've talked quite a lot about the hazel tree in previous videos, and finding hazelnuts is one of those things which most years the squirrels will get there before you. So the squirrels will eat them at this stage already with the unripe but fully developed nut inside there. So it's very rare to be able to actually pick hazelnuts in their ripe state. The squirrels usually get them first, but here we've got quite a lot. Every now and again, the trees do that thing which oak trees do. They have a mast year where they produce a large amount of nuts, overwhelm the squirrels, and that's the years when you might be lucky and find some. So we're nearly back at our starting point now, back at the car park at West Meon. So that was a little section of the Meon Valley Trail. I hope that was interesting. I hope you saw some interesting things with me today. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.